All right, back again for another ladder race. This time we're going against the Rowdy Rhinos. It's 5 versus 5 on Richmond Cobbled climbs. You remember last week, my biggest complaint about the race, not only my tactical errors, but the fact that it was a very boring race where it was a course that didn't lend itself well to stuff happening on the course. So this one we chose one that would definitely result in stuff happening, and it did. But we made a little calculation error when we did a custom finish. We wanted to finish on the top of 23rd Street KOM, but instead we ended up doing a few hundred meters afterwards. And that's kind of tough because when you're doing these custom finishes, we based it off watching a video of another race on the course that passed through, and we did the exact distance, but it just didn't work out well. So we ended up being a little bit further than the finish on the downhill. So here we are, first climb up the course. Going to slow it down for all the cobble climb segments here. This one, we weren't going to try to do too much on the first climb, not really trying to drop anyone, but just make it hurt, put a little hurt in the legs of the other team. They're a pretty strong team. We looked across the board, they're strong. We did want to try to lose Matt at some point on the climbs. He's really strong, but climbs aren't his specialty. Sorry if you're watching, Matt. But that's you were the one we were hoping to we could drop before the finish. Here we are. So up over the climb. No one dispatched. Reed was a little bit off the back, as well as Matt, but they come back here on the downhill between the two climbs. One thing I was worried about going into this one, when I was doing some stretching and sort of the Theragun before the race, my right hamstring was really sore. So I was a bit worried about that, whether that would act up during the race, but turns out it didn't bother me much during the race. So here we are, just trying to sort of warm up the legs here, not going all out. Here Paul gets a little bit of a gap, but it's pretty far out. We're not too worried about it. And we'll speed it back up to get through the boring parts. Unfortunately, we did end up dropping Reed, our teammate, and he wasn't able to get back on. Now we stayed relatively close. The Rhinos weren't exactly pushing it, so he was staying within a few seconds. He'd get close, and then they would open up the jets again and push that gap back out. So fortunately for the rest of the race, we were 5 versus 4, but it put us in a position where we could sit and let them dictate the pace. We weren't going to push any, and so we could. They wanted to burn matches off the front, they could. So they put in a few little attacks here and there, but nothing that we were too worried about it. And so here, back to the downhill, running through. The fun thing through this race too was so these guys would engage in some of my silly banter comments that I throw out during the race, which is always nice to break up the boring parts in between the excitement. So here we are. We're just about getting ready to get back up to the second climb here. Now I'm going up to this one, just a draft power up. So my plan was to burn this one just before the banner and then hopefully get something more useful. And here I just wanted to stay close to the front and just so I could decide the pace, not really rely on having to chase anyone down, put it hard enough that no one really wants to push harder, and just keep it steady. Not really looking to drop anyone here, but just make it a little bit painful. Now I will just turn on the jets here around that corner because it's quite steep. Maybe potentially open up gaps, so we've got a couple seconds, but again, nothing too serious. And just as I'm about to cross the banner here, I forget and I press it too late, and so I'm going into 23rd Street with no ammo, which is not my preferred way of going into a BC. I've got a few seconds to Ed and Matt, and it's just sort of letting me know that okay, maybe their legs are hurting. Maybe when we come into the finish, they won't be able to stick. And then here we hit up the 23rd Street climb. They slingshot through. falls off the front there a little bit, but again, it's pretty far out. We didn't think he was going to push too far. Ashley was able to close that gap pretty quickly. Here we go. We catch him on the downhill. Again, a little bit of a gap to Matt, 3 seconds, 2 seconds, but he's able to get back onto the downhill and then back up Governor Street here. One of the riders that we really were concerned about leading into this one was I think it's Eli. Hasn't done a lot of racing, but really impressive power numbers. So someone we were keeping an eye on, and he did prove to be quite strong. Now here on the Governor Street climb, we did put a significant gap into Matt. Kendrick is off the back with him. We told Kendrick just to stick with him if possible, and that we were confident with Kendrick's sprint that he may be able to take it over 23rd Street KOM and help us for the finish. So here we are. We're still 4 versus 3 on the front here for Coalition. And they're slowly just pulling off the gas. They're not pushing too hard. They really want to get Matt back in here. So which is good for us because it brings Kendrick back too. So back to the 5 versus 4. We're about to go into the final climb here. And here this is the time to really push hard and try to make that gap before the finishing move. Now, ideally, it would have been on the top of 23rd Street KOM, but like I said, we kind of messed up on the distancing there. And so here we are slowing it down. Blake is up on the front. Blake's got a really good 2-minute power. And then I'm just going to hold off a little bit. So here, just kind of getting second wheel and then slowly letting off a little bit here and there to just give a little tiny gap, just get them off the draft, a little bit of draft that there is on this lead into the climb, just so that they have to work. And when it does turn up, that's when I'll turn on the jets. And so here I go. I really push hard and pass Burke here. And the last couple 100 meters, this is when I really turn it on. I didn't have a power up coming here because I did draft before. I used that on the downhill. And so now we've got a gap. So several seconds back, heart rate's through the roof. So I just need to sort of calm down here between the two climbs, get some energy back. But we do have some distance between two of the riders off the back. So now we're 3 versus 3 going into 23rd Street KOM. And here it's just sort of emptying the tank, putting it all out there. This was my PR on this, even better than my 2020 times when I was super strong. So I come over the top here with a gap against the guys behind me. But unfortunately, I ran out of gas on the downhill and just before the finish, tipped at the line. But super fun race. Definitely stuff happened. It was way more fun than our previous ladder race. Even though we took another loss, it was still lots of fun. We enjoyed it. 30 to 25 again. What did you guys think about this course, and what are you thinking about for next Tuesday's ZRL? Looking forward to this punchy one, or would you rather get back to some more flat and fun stuff? Thanks again for watching the video. See you again next time.